Hey there, greetings everybody. I want to welcome you here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So it's the beginning of the week, and we're about to do the first episode, which for most of you know that this is an episode called This Week. And what we do on this particular episode is that I just kind of give a kind of rundown on what I'm going to do as far as the episodes go for the week that we're currently going into. I know that I usually sometimes talk a little bit about what's going to happen in the weeks and months ahead. I have a little bit to talk about there today, but not a ton of stuff. And sometimes I talk a little bit about what's going on in the past. I didn't really have much in the past to talk about this week, other than I know some people have a problem with my ranking of The Wall so low. But you have to understand that albums hit us at certain times in our life and they affect us in different ways. Unfortunately for The Wall, it came at a bad time and was played too much and was overkill to the point where I just couldn't stand it. Just couldn't stand it. That's changed, though. I have to say that it has changed for me with that album in the last year, so I kind of like it a lot more than I used to. I think before I would only listen to a couple songs on it. The rest I couldn't stand. I wouldn't even give some of them even a chance. But over the last few years, I've gone and listened to it quite a bit more, and it's not that bad of an album. And I wasn't a big fan of Roger Waters either, which didn't really help the album's cause. But at any rate, for those of you who watched the rankings and didn't care for my ranking of The Wall so low, you can only rank something the way you feel about it, right? And that's just the way that particular album hit me when it came out right at the beginning of my high school. Okay, so having said that, now we're going to talk about what's going on with this week. So we have 8 regular episodes this week, including the one we're doing right now. And Ben's album challenge is back. We'll be back tonight. It's kind of ironic. He gave me an album. The first show we ever did, he gave me Journey's debut. And this return episode is Journey's second album, which is called Look Into the Future. So we'll be doing that tonight. If you come back for tonight's episode, you'll see Ben's album challenge returning with Journey's Look Into the Future, their second studio album. Okay, so the next episode up comes out on Monday, which is Monday night's look back at a classic rock album. I'm going to do this one. Also an album that came out right at the beginning of my high school. Like virtually at absolutely same time I got into these. Different response altogether than The Wall was. However, this to me for a long time it was the first Led Zeppelin album I ever owned, In Through the Outdoor. But I had, of course, listened to a lot of their stuff prior to that. That's why I went and bought it in the first place. I love the album. For many years it was my favorite. It's dropped considerably since then, but going in the opposite direction of The Wall, I guess. But I still like it a lot. It's just not my favorite Zeppelin album anymore. But we're going to be doing this album for a look back at a classic rock album on Monday night this week. The next show up comes out on Tuesday night, and this week it's ranking the songs off an album. Now normally we alternate between that and album sides. So album sides will come out one week, ranking the songs off an album will come out another week. I may change that. I've been thinking that I might move the album sides to the same night as Ben's album challenge and alternate those two. But if I do it, it won't be for a while because I have something else in mind right now. But at any rate, this week we're doing a ranking of the songs from an album that I absolutely adore. It's one of my top 20 for sure. At some points it's been as high as 11th or 10th or 11th. Who's Next by The Who. Probably my favorite Who album. I'm not sure. I haven't really examined the Who collection enough to rank it yet, but definitely one of those albums. I love the fact that they're pissing on a pile on here. Yep. attitude, even on the album cover, right? So we'll be doing Who's Next and ranking the 9 tracks off of that album, which will be very interesting because that album's proliferated with great stuff. The next album out, or the next show up, is Favorites, which tends to be the most popular show on the channel. We're going to do something, I've done a couple episodes of this before. The first episode was called, I just want to make sure I get this right, so I'm going to move this up here a little bit. So the first episode was called my 5 albums that I were given to me and exceeded, or basically lived up to the reputation that they were given to me for. The next episode out that I did was called 5 more albums that that exceeded their reputation, and this one's going to be called Another 5 Albums That Exceeded Their Reputation. And I've got 5 really good ones. I think that for me it's easy because there's a lot of albums that have exceeded their reputation. So this one, I tried to give it to 5 bands that haven't had anything prior to this one. They weren't in the first 2 episodes, so it'll be, I think, an interesting episode. The next episode up comes out on Thursday, and that's my What's New night. I've been looking forward to this particular episode. I was going to do it, I was planning on doing it. Yeah, I thought about doing it last week, but I don't think it was out yet, to be honest with you. I can't remember exactly when it came out, but I think it was close. Anyways, we're doing Steve Hackett's The Circus of the Night Whale. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this. Love Steve Hackett's stuff. It'll be interesting to see what this album sounds like, whether it's as good as his past stuff. He's got quite a bit of good stuff in the past. He's got some that not so great, but not bad. The next show up will be ranking the albums, which I know that I did the inaugural one last week that Ben had given me. So basically what this series is Ben gives me 4 albums. I listen to all 4 and I rank them according to how I like them, and then the winner, or the number 1 rank album, will go on to the next round. And when we get we'll either get 8 and do 2 semifinals and then a finals, or we'll get 6. We may do 16 and we'll do then we'll have 4 of them, but we'll also have a finals as well. So we'll have 4 semifinals and then a finals. I think that's how it works, right? Yeah. Anyways, so that is good. I haven't gotten the albums that he's given me yet. I haven't been on my email for a few days, so I will check that as soon as I'm able to. Also, he'll probably give me my Ben's album challenge, even because we're doing that tonight as well. So yeah, so that's what's going to happen for Friday night. And then Saturday night, I've changed this up. I know some of you aren't quite sure what I'm doing here, so I'm going to be specific about it now. So I have 2 shows that go on Saturday night. One's called Metal. The other one's called Exploring the Prog Universe, or Progverse if you prefer. I was doing them back to back, so bi-weekly. So I would do Metal one week and then into the Progverse the second week. The problem with it is that it wasn't giving me quite enough time to really get this stuff down, because it's a lot to do. So I've decided to do it bi-monthly, which means that every 2 weeks one of these 2 shows will come out. So this week it's into the Progverse, or Prog Universe, that we're doing. I'm going to do a band that I think is much loved, and it was one of my favorites, my number 3 band. We're talking about Genesis. I've been wanting to do this, so I'm excited to do this as my 3rd Progverse exploration. So I hope to see you for that one. That will come out Saturday night, probably late. I think I'm finding that I like doing that one really late, come out around 11 o'clock for those late birds on a Saturday night. And if you're in another country like Australia, I think maybe it works out a little better for you, but I could be completely wrong there. I was in New Zealand, God knows, 30-some years ago, and lost a day and then gained a second day when I came back. So I think I had 2 That year I had no February the 5th and so that February the 5th, 1990 never existed for me. And then on the way back, I think I had two March the 7th or something like that. But at any rate, yeah, I liked it down there. I wish I could go back, especially now where it's so cold. But at any rate, that's it for this week's episodes. So the next thing up, I just wanted to talk briefly about. I have I've got about 7 mini-series that I'm working on, but 3 of them are, the one of them's almost 100% ready. The other 2 are pretty close to ready. We're going to run one of them first, and that one, and where are my glasses here? Here we are. So one of them is going to be entitled, this is a series that I thought up the other night when I was talking to my friend on the phone. It just came to me, and I'm actually inundated them with what I wanted to do, and then now I wrote it down, and that's what I wanted to do. And it's called The Music of Canada and Australia, the Commonwealth Brothers. So what this is going to be is I'm going to choose, I've got five how you want to put it, 5 little kind of scenarios, or a little bit of, 5 little kind of scenarios, and I've got 1 band from each country in that scenario to talk about that fit into the scenario. So we have, so The Music of Canada and Australia, the Commonwealth Brothers will be the title of the series. There'll be 5 episodes featuring 5 Australian bands and 5 Canadian bands that have something similar with each other. And I wanted to do this because I love all these bands, and I wanted to talk more about them. And when I do stuff like this, it also makes me listen to them a lot more, which then makes my ability to understand them a lot better. I do not know as much about the Australian bands, I do confess. I never grew up with them, so my experience with most of these bands has been over the length of doing this particular type of thing on this channel. Most of the Canadian bands I've had some excessive amounts of time with, so I'll know more about them. But I think there's some similarities between each of the 2 that will compete with each other. Well, they're not really competing with each other, they're kind of supporting each other, is probably more to the point. So that's one of the series I'm going to be doing. Another series I will be doing is going to alternate with Ben's Album Challenge. So that will start next Sunday, because Ben's Album Challenge is going this week. So that series will start next Sunday and alternate with Ben's Album Challenge for about 5 weeks, because there's 5 episodes. It's My Favorite Drummers is what it's called. I've picked out my 5 favorite drummers. I'm going to do an episode on each of the 5. I like to think of myself as a drummer, but other people like to think of me as a racket maker. So I will just leave that up to the individuals to decide. But I do love drumming. Drumming is probably my favorite instrument. And so we'll be doing that episode. That series will come out starting the following Sunday, and you'll get information about that on the next this week episode. And there's one other series that will take place probably early in March, or fairly early in March. I'm still putting this 100% together. I decided on this because me and my friend were talking about this, and it's going to be called 7 Rock Bands or Artists from 1950 who got the rock ball rolling, so to speak. And I'm not sure exactly what the title of the series will be, but it'll be something similar to that. I'm going to pick out 7. I've already picked out 5. That person has a couple they want to add. I just don't know what they are at this moment in time. And we will do 7 artists from the 1950s that kind of got the rock ball rolling. So that'll be a series. And that probably, we're looking at maybe about 3 weeks before they start that one. And I also have 4 other series that I'm working on. One of them I've had in the works now almost since I started doing the mini series, but I want to make sure I get this one exactly the way I want it, because it involves it's going to involve 6 bands that I absolutely adore. So I don't want to do them injustice by not being prepared 100% for them. And there's a couple of other things that I've thought about doing too. I hope people liked the most recent series that I did, which was the alternate universe. That was really fun to do. I really enjoyed it. It made me think about how important one person can be for a band, to the sound of a band. Sometimes it's not as important, but a lot of times it is. I'm thinking about doing a second one of that type. If anybody thinks that's a good idea, please let me know. I'm thinking maybe to do another progressive one, but I'm not against maybe doing a hard rock or even a metal one as well. But these are all things that lots of time to do this, and I'm going to get into doing them. So anyways, I've talked enough. I hope you got a good understanding of what's going to happen this week and what's coming in the future. If you like this episode, please hit the like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. Any comments or any suggestions or anything you might like to see, and if I can do it, if I have enough knowledge to do it. I don't like to do things I don't know a lot about, because then I feel like I don't know a lot about them, and people can see that I don't know a lot about them, so they get pissed off at me. And as much as getting pissed off at me doesn't really bother me all that much, it does bother me a little bit. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please like, subscribe, and leave your comments. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. And we will see you next Sunday for another episode of This Week. So have yourself a good one. Take care. Bye.